Legend has it that back in ancient times, Greeks traveled along the Black Sea from Constantinople in search of new fertile lands. The voyage was long and exhausting. They battled against the elements and braced themselves for what seemed like inevitable death in dark, leaden waters. But one day, at dawn, a light breeze came along. The thick fog started clearing away. The sun came out, and the voyagers saw that up ahead there was a lush coast and mountains. "Land!" the lookout shouted, and the voyagers rejoiced. That was the magnificent land of Tavrии, a land where winter never comes, and the air is filled with sea breeze and the fragrance of herbs. The land of gorgeous grapes and roses. Life and joy came back to the weary voyagers. It was here, in this blessed land, that the Greeks established their settlement. Kherson, Chersonesus, the land as legendary as the myths of antiquity. Here, amidst the ruins of the ancient city, the roaring waves seem to echo the voices of generations long gone. The vast fields are strewn with white stones. Those are remains of the wall which used to separate once huge vineyards of Chersonites. Chersonesus is the cradle of Crimean wine industry. Here, right under the sky, high above the ground, there are caves. In the 8th century, during the period of aniconism, Orthodox Greek monks used to flee here and establish monasteries in rock caves. Monks used to make superb wines. In ancient cave towns, archaeologists found remnants of wines, wine pottery, and even traces of colored cream of tartar, some 200 to 300 years old. After Greeks and reckless monks of underground monasteries, the legend of Crimean wines was carried on by our contemporaries. In the 1960s, the local wine industry moved to the caves of Inkerman. It was found that here, at the depth of 30 meters, all the year round, the temperature stayed at 13 to 15 centigrade, and the moisture at 75 to 80%. All this adds up to ideal conditions for wine aging. Therefore, the underground monasteries turned into one of Europe's largest wine cellars. More than half a century ago, here near Sebastopol, the Inkerman Vintage Wine Factory was founded. Translated from Turkic, the word Inkerman means a cave fortress. The labyrinths of the fortress, where wine is aged, are more than 5 kilometers long. A glass of wine from this underground kingdom of Dionysus makes a trip to Crimea worthwhile in any season. The grapevine is grown in golden valleys of the Alma, Belbek and Bulganok rivers. The grapes grown in this area make it possible to produce subtle and exquisite dry wines. The combination of terrain, climate and fertile composition of soils where vineyards grow make Inkerman wines similar to the best wines of the French province of Bordeaux. In 1990, the Paris-based International Organization of Wine and Wine recognized the Inkerman factory as one of the best wine producers in the world. The main distinguishing feature of Inkerman lies in the fact that the local vintage wines, which for several years age in underground limestone chambers, are made according to ancient technologies without the use of alcohol. These are natural dry wines which conform to European and Mediterranean tastes. These cellars are more than 100 years old. This is the holiest of the holies of the agrarian firm Тавrии. What an aroma! Yes, aroma is the word. It doesn't make you want to have a drink. It makes you want just to keep breathing it in. Tavrii's vineyards stretch across the land which millions of years ago was the ancient bed of the Dnieper River. Unique soil, favorable climate and local winemaking traditions make it possible to produce wine and Ukrainian cognacs from select raw materials. In the lower Dnieper area, the first vineyards were planted more than a century ago. In the year 1900, on about 2,200 acres, nearly 9,830 tons of grapes were harvested. Such was the yield on the sands, which the locals referred to as Sahara and considered nothing but a liability. It was at that time that the Center for Wine Growing and Winemaking was being created. Renowned scientist Professor Golovyanko called it the Ukrainian champagne. Now it is known as the Тавrии agro-industrial firm. Perfect cognac spirit has been kept in the factory cellars for more than 20 years, awaiting its time. After specialists check the whole gamut of quality, taste and flavor characteristics of the product, the spirit will be used for producing a new batch of vintage Ukrainian cognac.